Up to three people are reported to have been killed by Syrian troops as government forces intensify a pre-Ramadan crackdown on protest against President Bashar Assad. Activists have predicted that demonstrations will escalate during the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. Nabila Ramdani is a journalist and commentator on Arab affairs based in Paris.
The hundreds of arrests which have been happening in Damascus are very significant, and they're a hugely important point in this ongoing struggle. And they illustrate how the demonstrations have spread to the capital and are not just isolated to traditionally rebellious cities and towns. And effectively, demonstrators are now at Assad's doorstep and calling for a regime change. And remember, this is something which has not really happened in Tripoli in Libya, where there have been isolated acts of dissent, but no wide-scale demonstration, let alone acts of rebellions in Tripoli itself. So the very fact that demonstrators are now threatening the capital city, Damascus, is a very significant change in the ongoing struggle.
And how significant is the Ramadan period itself? These arrests have come just before Ramadan. Were the authorities expecting more protests during that time?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's extremely significant that these arrests, at least 500 people have been arrested, and there are strong reasons to believe that there could be much more. A person has been killed as well, and much more have been injured as well. So I think these arrests, but also are very significant. The brutal killings across the country also are, and they were carried out just before Ramadan, the holy month of fasting. And it appears that this was a statement of intent on behalf of al-Assad's regime just before a period which looks as though it's going to be extremely turbulent. And protesters are certainly looking at Ramadan as a time when they can get more gatherings in mosques at night prayers. And in turn, the Syrian authorities will hope a sacred period of time in their national life might lead to greater calm, but I doubt it very much.
Is there an ethnic dimension to this latest crackdown at all in the current situation?
Well, obviously, the Syrian society is divided along sectarian lines traditionally. And it's interesting to note that the ruling Alawite family actually represents a minority in Syria. But what's interesting to note as well is that there has been an unequivocal unity in the demonstrations beyond the traditional divides. So And this is very important because it shows the determination of the Syrian population as a whole. And it's no coincidence that every Friday now in Syria you have massive nationwide show of strength across the country as thousands came out of mosques last Friday, for example, following Friday prayers to chant, "Your silence is killing us." And this was a very apt slogan. There's a very sinister silence from al-Assad and his lieutenants right now. And all we learn from this is that they are absolutely desperate to remain in power and will do so at whatever cost and however low their international reputation sinks.
Have the authorities there done enough then now to quell any potential intensification of the protest during Ramadan? What are the people you know in Syria saying?
Well, obviously, the al-Assad regime constantly blames the deaths of people on armed terrorist groups who are desperate to spread chaos. And this is what people are telling me in Syria, that this is, of course, what all under threat regimes do when faced with nationwide dissent. The mood on the ground is one of determination, and I think the holy month of Ramadan will be even more challenging for the Syrian regime because it's a holy month where people can, hope for the better, hope for change, and organize themselves better because they're united by faith, and also they're united beyond faith in the hope to change things profoundly and very significantly.
Nabila Ramdani there.